Hi there viewers, and welcome to this week's Planet Alignment Watch done with the PSY cards, Carl Jung's PSY cards. This week is March the 12th, Monday, taking us through to March the 19th. Now I just want to go and do a little bit of a review from last week's cards if anyone who's clicking into this is watching it. We last week had the cards that came out with skills, destruction, death and liberation, and the inquirer card. And as it turns out, it was actually rather a wild week here in New Zealand in particular, and Australia, and actually America when I think about all the tornadoes. So all of those cards did play out in a manner to do with earth weather issues. In New Zealand we had one of the worst weather bombs drop on us over last weekend. Not the one just gone, but the weekend before. And one of the worst storms we've had in 50 years, and it wreaked havoc on an area in New Zealand in the top North Island called Taranaki, and lots of houses lost their roof. In fact, some places are still without power now. There were flash floodings. It was absolute chaos. It was in fact intended to head up towards Auckland, the storm as well, but at the last minute somehow got diverted, which was a little bit of an odd anomaly. And then when we look at Australia, they've had their very extreme flooding issues going on over there in New South Wales, and there are towns where people are being evacuated in a sudden hurry. They're saying that's the worst flooding in that area for the 100-year scenario. So we did actually have a lot of close issues around New Zealand and Australia, which indicated that inquirer card, and we had a lot of people having to suddenly flee their homes, which indicated that liberation card, that sign of fleeing and leaving. And we did have a lot of destruction in both of those scenarios. And then if we go through to America, we also had lots of destruction with more tornadoes, and there were loss of lives there. So those cards did seem to play out for that week, which was just over a week ago now in fact, and they showed up more in weather patterns as opposed to specific earth movements such as earthquakes. So there's no doubt that the cards are aligning themselves to weather issues, and I did wonder that at the time when I started doing these readings. So I'm picking up quite strongly that the cards are picking up both issues to do with the planet, and I guess the weather is very much a planet related reality, because one way or another the weather generally comes down onto us, onto the planet, and affects us in one way or another. So as an earth watch, it's taking into effect all of those scenarios, just the Earth's vibration itself and the changes it makes in the course of its days and weeks, and the atmosphere around us, which creates the weather, which in turn affects the Earth. So this week's cards, if we come and have a look at them, our first one here is prison, then we've got the skills card back again, then we've got this one which is called no, and then we've got now, and then we've got this card which is known as the libido. Now given that I'm making changes with the cards in relation to how you would normally utilize them if someone was asking a specific question of them, and this is to do with an earth related watch, I feel that the prison card again relates to being stranded or locked down, so somehow being in a confined capacity in some way, and I would suspect that that is the citizens as opposed to Earth itself. And the skills card again coming out next to it, it relates exactly as it did the same last week, which I think these are now going to be the meanings that will be set for the cards. This would indicate that whatever happens this week, there are the skills around with people who have the necessary ability to take action on whatever is occurring, whether it be quick remedial action in the way of physical help such as rescuing people or building quick shelters, or whether it's technological help or abilities as in weather predictions, or being able to give warnings to people. It shows that the skills cards are there, so it's whatever action is taking place is going to be around communities that have things in place to help create action or remedy the issues that will be coming. The next card, the no card, is, you know, if you were asking a question and it said, should I move house tomorrow and go and live somewhere else, that card's obviously saying no. It doesn't necessarily mean a negative card, but basically when I read the introduction for the card, it does actually state, this is what it basically says, it says warning, halt, red light, stop all action. So it is a card that is suggesting that something is coming, sort of like it's saying, wow, warning, there's something coming this week. So viewing it from the Earth card again, it's not what I would call a positive card. And then we have the card right next to us and it says now. So I think it's saying there is something coming right now, some form of activity. And then this final card here, the libido card, which is actually the card of physical. It shows great physical flurry or physical activity. It can also be viewed as a spiritual card, so like an enhancement or an enlightenment for people, some form of spiritual release which could be present. Given that we're looking at the planet, could we look at it as a form of release, so something quite potent, like a sudden urge or a sudden release of energy. It's a card that definitely designates energy. So there's something going on this week. It didn't have the destruction and it didn't have the death card, but it feels like some sort of energy. Oh, well, that's a silly thing to say, I guess, isn't it? Because all weather's energy, earth movements, they're all energy. But let's just keep our eyes out and see how the week goes. It would appear to say there is a bit of a warning included in there. There's going to be some skills set into action place. The prison card's a wee bit of a lockdown, being alone or stranded, and it would appear it might happen something this week. So guys, heads up on that. We'll just keep working through these ones. I'm finding them quite interesting. They were very, very accurate last week. So, yeah, we'll just see how that all plays out. Hope you all have a great week. Keep safe and keep happy.